Hi, I'm Alana Hippensteel from Pharmacy Times. Before we get started, one of our top articles today discusses the role of pharmacists in combating misinformation regarding vaccines. There's more of that on pharmacytimes.com. Today, I'm speaking with Amanda Bowles, the director of Shopper Science Lab at GSK Consumer Healthcare, on the expansion of products that are eligible for coverage by HSAs and FSAs this year, following the passage of the CARES Act. So Amanda, the CARES Act has made a critical change and expanded the products that are eligible for coverage by HSAs and FSAs this year. What was this change and why is it important for Americans?
Yeah, so back in March, Congress passed the CARES Act, which many people know as providing financial relief for many Americans as the COVID crisis hit. What many people don't know is that the CARES Act also made a critical change in terms of what products are eligible to be covered by flexible spending accounts and health savings accounts. So for the first time in nearly a decade, many over-the-counter medicines are now eligible for reimbursement through these accounts. And for the first time ever, menstrual products are also eligible. So this change is effective immediately and has the potential to provide significant savings this year for the nearly 50 million households who currently take advantage of these accounts, as well as in future years for people who may not be eligible or who may not have accounts now but would be eligible to have those.
Excellent, excellent. So would this expansion of eligibility be temporary, or is this something that's going to be more permanent?
No, it's not temporary. There is no expiration date on this expansion. So, shoppers are able to take advantage of the benefit immediately. And in fact, it's retroactive to the beginning of 2020. So they can submit for reimbursement for any of these items they may have purchased so far this year if they've kept their receipts. And there is no expiration date. So people can count on these benefits being there for them for the foreseeable future. And at GSK, we are building a program to help people look ahead and figure out how to plan those future contributions, based on their personal OTC spending.
Great, excellent. And what has the role of FSAs and HSAs been in the lives of Americans thus far?
Yeah, so these accounts have been around for several decades now, and tens of millions of American families really depend on them to help manage their healthcare expenses. So, they've been used to pay for everything from, office visit copays to prescriptions to medical procedures. So, these accounts have been instrumental for many people in how they manage their health expenses and in saving money on those expenses by using these tax-free dollars. So this expansion is a real benefit to all these families.
Yeah, absolutely. So I understand there's some slight nuance between FSAs and HSAs. Could you explain briefly how each account is different and what that might mean for their use this year?
Sure. So a flexible spending account, or an FSA, is an account that's often offered by employers in conjunction with the traditional health insurance account. It is a pre-tax account, and these funds are meant to be spent in the year in which they're allocated. So that means they tend to be use it or lose it. The unspent funds are forfeited at the end of the year. There are some nuances with that. There are some limited rollovers available, but by and large, FSA funds need to be spent within the calendar year.
Okay.
Now, HSAs, or health savings accounts, operate a bit differently. So the accounts are also pre-tax, but only people with qualifying high deductible health plans are eligible.
Yeah.
And the critical difference here is that HSAs are not use it or lose it. These accounts are designed to roll over year to year, and they can be invested for long-term growth.
Right.
In terms of similarities, the type of health spending you can do from each account is the same, and the OTC eligibility change applies in the same way to both accounts.
Right. Got it. So how does this expansion of HSAs and FSA coverage eligibility benefit Americans? And what products may be covered now that weren't before? I know you kind of mentioned this a little bit, but anything more specific?
Yeah, so in terms of benefiting Americans, we know that households today spend on an average more than $400 a year on OTC products. In fact, the latest number I saw was $442 a year on average. So, if these purchases are made entirely through a tax-advantaged account, the average family could really realize some measurable tax savings there. And as I mentioned, OTC products now mostly eligible for this, and being able to use this pre-tax money for OTCs, might mean that someone can afford to stock up on the products that they, for instance, want to have on hand going into the cold and flu season, or to plan ahead for their digestive health or their pain management needs. It really puts the consumer in better control of their health and their healthcare spending.
Yeah, absolutely. So will this expansion of eligibility also cover vitamins and other general health supplements as well?
So the expansion of eligibility covers products that are primarily for a medical purpose, which generally means that they're used to manage or treat injuries, illnesses, or medical conditions. So products that are primarily for general health and wellness, so that includes most vitamins and supplements, not all, there are some nuances, but most vitamins and supplements are not considered to be eligible at this time.
Okay, got it. Where can pharmacists go to see a complete list of what is covered and isn't covered now?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there are quite a few nuances in determining what products are eligible and which are not. And so there is an industry organization, a group called CGIS, the Special Interest Group for IIAS standards, which is a nonprofit organization established to create an industry standard around this. Essentially, they evaluate the products on the market against the criteria the IRS has put forward for eligibility, and they make a determination whether a product is eligible or not. And they keep sort of a master list that most retailers and pharmacies use to understand the products that are available. And so, the merchant team at most retailers probably have access to that list or something similar, and they would be able to, work with their pharmacists to really bring that forward to them.
Great. And does this list get updated or changed over time?
Yes, so as new products come to market, this group, CGIS, evaluates them against that criteria for eligibility. If they meet the criteria, they will be added to the list, and shoppers will be able to use their FSA or HSA to pay for them. So the exact product list will evolve over time as the market changes and new products come to market, but the criteria for eligibility should stay the same.
Got it. And how does this expansion of eligibility help to support the healthcare system during the current COVID-19 pandemic we're facing?
Yeah, in these times, it's more important than ever that we're all able to manage our personal health and wellness to the best of our ability. And OTC medicines are often the first line of defense against a variety of illnesses and conditions. So expanding access to OTCs, making them more affordable through these pre-tax accounts, can help people treat at home and potentially help to lower the stress on the healthcare system, which of course is overtaxed now dealing with COVID. At GSK, we believe in the power of OTCs to put people in control of their health and wellness. And that's why we're really focused on driving awareness of this change and working with our business partners to bring it forward to their shoppers to take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. And how could this expansion of eligibility benefit pharmacies, and what could they do to help educate customers about this change?
Absolutely. So, this eligibility change really opens the doors for pharmacies to connect with their shoppers in new and meaningful ways, right? First and foremost is to educate them. Our research shows that nearly 3/4 of Americans don't know about this change yet. And so pharmacies really have the ability to communicate about this at the point when it's really most important, which is, when people are making the decisions about what products to buy and how much they can afford to spend. So, helping people understand what's eligible is really a critical piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is the value of a pharmacist in the education of consumers about eligibility changes like this one that might take place?
Well, we know that pharmacists are one of the most trusted professionals in America, and millions of people come into contact with their pharmacists on a regular basis. And because of that, pharmacists know firsthand about the stress that out-of-pocket healthcare expenses can put on people. So by keeping pharmacists informed of these changes, they can continue to provide that trusted advice to patients about how best to treat those minor illnesses and injuries at home with OTCs and how to save money doing so with this new coverage.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, Amanda. Now let's hear from some of our other MJH Life Sciences brands on their latest headlines.